All right, guys, we are back for more Please Be Happy. In the last one, we just had a heavy talk. That's the best way to describe it. We were like relationship issues. Let's talk about it, man. And then we did, and it was a great time. IMO. It was a great time for me at least because I really enjoy that kind of stuff. Um, like I don't know. I guess like I don't want to say I was missing from the other route of like relationship issues. I really didn't mind that there weren't any, but having some here is just like it's a nice contrast. So like oh, this route's like 90% the same, just with Juliet and doing stuff with Juliet instead of doing stuff with Aspen. It's like there's a lot of differences to like the tone, like what happened throughout it, like the ebb and flow of their relationship is even different. I really like it. It's been great so far. I say as if we're not almost to the end, we're 86% of the way through. I'm gonna be counting down every percent. It hurts. It hurts my soul. All right. Let's just go ahead and jump on into it. When Juliet and I finally said our goodbyes for the night, and I went to sleep, it was with a much lighter heart than the past few days. I feel like I'm raised slightly. Hang on. No, I'm not. I just feel so much taller today. I don't know why. Before we split up, I asked her to show me how to get to the nature preserve where her friend took the bird, and she walked me through how to reach the shuttle that will take me there. I need something to pass the time before she wakes up, and I want to see how the bird is doing, so it seemed like the perfect time to visit. In the morning, after I get up and out of bed, I have a quick breakfast on my own since I slept in. Then, once I'm ready, I make the short walk to the stop where I can get on the shuttle, and ride it the rest of the way there. The driver takes us in the direction of the Bell House and Aspen's apartment. I've walked down these roads so many times that it feels strange to see them rush by the windows, like I'm fast-forwarding through a TV show. Why am my eyes struggling to stay open today? I don't know why. I don't know why they're struggling to stay open this time. Fuck. Does that help? I can't tell. At some point, we take a turn that I've never seen before, and soon we're going through areas that are new to me. I watch them go by, not paying attention to commit them to memory. Eventually, I stop and disembark. As I get off. Oh, ha 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 ha. And we could just skip on through this, and now I could go ahead and save it Davidy, and I will save it there and then return to dirty. I'm glad to have settled down. Again, like nothing would have changed for me. Like again, I'm trying to pick like the decisions as if I don't know, what feels right. And so I'm like, well, I mean, it's the same thing I picked with Aspen, so like, why wouldn't it like be right there? And also, sorry, my phone just went off. Hey yo, Dark Rising the 5-star raids in Pokemon Go, let's go. Don't know why it's saying that to me when he's been in them literally all day today, and I haven't done a single one, but that's fine. It's whatever. I don't need Darkrai anyways. It's just hard to have enough people to do that with, you know what I mean? Ugh.
If you're
Listen, guys. Don't mind me just talking about Pokemon Go. I'm like the only person who still hypes it up. I love Pokemon Go, even now. Well, because I just like go out on like so many walks with my dog anyways. So it's like I'm not even out like catching Pokemon the entire time. It's just something like turn on, I'll put it in my pocket. If we walk to the spot where like the gym is at, then I'll spin it or I'll put a guy on it. That's the kind of what I do. Wait. I spend a few hours wandering around the preserve and never run out of things to see. There are birds, lizards, and all kinds of other creatures, plus a forest that reminds me of Korea. The calm beauty of it all helps me feel better after hearing about the bird. At least it got to spend its last few days in a place as gorgeous as this. After a while, I leave the park and wait for a shuttle to take me back where I came from, and then I walk the rest of the way to the library. Once I'm home, I spend the rest of the day napping and watching TV while I wait for Juliet to wake up. That night, I'm dozing in my room, drifting in and out of sleep when there's a knock at my door. 3 knocks like always. The door swings open and Juliet stands there. I leap to my feet, sleepiness disappearing in an instant.
Good evening, Mayhe. Hey.
She welcomes me into her arm. She welcomes me into her arms with a hug and a kiss. I'm sure last night's conversation is still front and center in her mind. The two of us go downstairs and Juliet starts preparing tea, setting a mug at both of our spots at the table.
How was your visit to the nature preserve?
It was really nice. I had no idea there was a place like that in Wellington. All those trees. It was even more impressive than the gardens or Mount Victoria.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Were you able to find your bird?
Well, kinda. I found a Maya at least. She told me that the bird passed away.
Oh no, Miho. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I know they did all they could to help it. All of us did. I think I'll go back sometime. Just to look around. I feel like I could spend days there and still find new things.
I'd like to go with you sometime. It's been years since I've gone to visit myself.
That sounds great. I'd love to see it with you.
With a smile, Juliet pours us both some tea and sits down. I dump sugar into mine while she leaves hers untouched.
It's a date then. I was also wondering if you might accompany me somewhere tonight as well.
Oh, sure. Where did you want to go?
Well, as I'm sure you know, tomorrow is Halloween. It was always Cosette's favorite holiday. It's also a day to honor the dead.
Oh my gosh, wait, are we actually doing stuff for Halloween? Oh, are we doing stuff to oh, I'm so excited. Because, like, in Aspen's route, like, Halloween was, like, fine. Like, stuff happened on that day. But, like, it wasn't, like, Halloween, you know? Like, kids came by, but that was kind of about it. I hope we actually, like, do something. I'm excited.
Every
I
year
hope.
at midnight, I go to lay flowers at her grave.
I reach across the table, offering my hand, which Juliet takes.
Of course I'll go.
Thank you. I thought perhaps we could leave some flowers for Zhongying as well. Only if you want to, of course.
I'd like that. I'm sure they loved flowers. I know I do.
I'm sure they'd be grateful to receive them.
Some human traditions and rituals still seem foreign to me, and not something I'd think about doing myself. That was true for plenty of other things that I now take for granted, though, like holding hands and drinking tea. Once we both drained our cups, we head out into the night together, beginning the walk to the cemetery. Along the way, Juliet guides us to a patch of wildflowers, where she picks some leaves to leave for Cosette. The ones she chooses have white petals and purple ones. The ones she chooses have white petals and purple ones. I pick a handful that are dark blue. They remind me of the clothes Zhang was wearing when I first met them. Like usual, we're practically the only ones out this late. We pass by houses with the lights off and curtains drawn, the shops that are too dark to see into. I used to be more comfortable in the nighttime, where I felt invisible and secure, although I don't feel the need to be hidden just to be safe anymore. I still enjoy the quiet calmness it provides, sort of like the nature preserve earlier. We reach the cemetery and Juliet leads the way down several trails and through the trees. I remember which grave is Cosette's, even though it doesn't look much different from the others. Juliet and I both come to a stop at the same time, pausing in front of the simple memorial. She stoops down and wipes some dust away from the nameplate and leaves a bundle of flowers that she chose. They're wrapped with a small ribbon that she brought with her and held in place by a small rock. Then she steps back to stand beside me. I don't say anything, but silently take her hand again. She squeezes tightly. The last time we were here, I ran away as the reality of death and human mortality hit me. Now, knowing what I do and having accepted it, I can appreciate Juliet's loss so much more. So much love and so much of her life are buried just a few feet beneath us, with only a small stone to represent it all. Juliet clears her throat and still facing Cosette's grave, begins to speak.
Even now, so many years after Cosette passed away, still surprises me sometimes that she's gone. When I wake up, I half expect to hear her laughter from the hallway, or see her reading in the library, or find her shoes by the back door. By holding on to these little memories, these little pains, I thought I could keep her alive in my heart. There's no one else left to remember her. The way her laugh sounded, the books she enjoyed, the clothes she preferred. So I clung to those memories, for fear that they would cease to exist if I didn't. I've told you, Miho, how I've tried to live to honor Cosette, by doing my part to create the kind of world she dreamed about living in. A world of kindness and hope. Believe it or not, That was easy. Any pain or trouble was acceptable so long as it took me closer to that goal. Until one day, it wasn't. At the time, I thought that helping you was just another step down the path I had chosen for myself. But as time went on, and you blossomed and learned to live, it made me realize that I had reached a dead end. I had spent so long striving for this new world, and I forgot to appreciate the one around me. And when I realized that, I felt trapped. Were I to stray from my path, I didn't know where it would take me. My world wasn't there anymore. Not just Cosette. Not just the people we knew. Technology improved. People's lives improved. And everything moved forward. Everything but me. All I could think to do was run away. As I always have when faced with a difficult problem. Whether throwing myself off for the world or refusing to face a life without my daughter. The only direction I've ever been able to move is backwards. Last night, when you told me that you wanted to do the things I'd like to do, for me to take the lead more often, being with you is the first thing I've wanted for myself in a long, long time. To the point where I'm not even sure how to do that.
Finally, Juliet faces me. Just like last night, just like in the library, just like so many other times before.
Can you show me how to move forward?
I gently take both of Juliet's hands and guide them to my heart, holding them against me. I can feel every beat and know that she can too.
We can figure it out together.
That's... oh, sorry.
You already helped me with that after all.
I like that I just apologized to Miho. That was just a weird moment in my brain. Anyways, that song that was playing, I forget what it's called. I'm blanking on it. I think, was it Rain Memories or is this one Rain Memories? I don't know. This one definitely isn't Rain Memories. I think the last one was. That song so perfectly encapsulates, like, just a feeling of, like, deep, deep sorrow, but also, like, still manages to sound, like, hopeful, if that makes sense. Like, just using, like, what Juliet was going through as an example, like, of how she was, you know, like, stuck in the past as everyone's lives moved forward. She was stuck, like, with her daughter's death. She was stuck as, like, the world changed around her and she stayed the same. Like, all of these, like, really heavy things that are, like, deeply sad, you know? And, like, also I just feel, like, very relatable. Like, I feel like I've talked about it a lot in this series specifically, but, like, that's just, like, when you do lose someone. Like, I lost a friend a few years ago. Somebody who I consider to be my best, the person I consider to be my best friend. I don't want to, like, I simultaneously didn't want to make it sound too dramatic, but I was also like, okay, yeah, but they were, like, my best friend, okay, and I lost them. Like, I want to make it sound as dramatic as it is. It's, like, a terrible tragedy, and, like, it made my life, like, really, like, the way she's talking about being, like, trapped, but also wanting to honor her stuff, but also not being able to move forward, or also needing to move forward, and now, like, everyone else's lives is, like, moving forward around her. Like, I'm like, that's, like, so relatable. And thankfully I am, like, I guess, like, beyond, like, where she is kind of right now with that. Like, obviously it still, like, hurts a lot. And, like, every time, like, she brings up Cosette and is just talking about her, I have a picture of my friend on my desk, like, up on a higher level where I can actually see it, because if it was on my lower level, it'd be blocked by computers, and I don't want that. I'd have a picture of him up there with me and him. And every single time, like, she starts talking about him, it's not even by, like, choice. It's just kind of like, I just find my eyes just, like, looking over at it. And it's sort of one of those moments of, like, you don't realize you're staring off until you kind of, like, blink and realize what you're doing, and that's like, oh, I've been staring off into space for a little while, you know what I mean? Where was I going with this? Oh, but it's saying, like, she's talking about all these, like, deeply, like, sad and relatable things that are, like, again, horribly depressing to, like, live through and all that kind of stuff. But she still has, like, you know, she's still looking forward to that future, specifically now because she has Miho, someone who's, like, helping her, like, get there. You know what I mean? So, like, I feel like that song, like, strikes the perfect balance of, like, being, again, like, very sad, but also so hopeful in the same, like, breath, essentially. I don't know. I think it's beautiful. Like, again, I talk about it a lot, but, like, everything about this game I think is pretty beautiful, and, like, the music just does such an excellent job of just capturing, like, emotion, but in, like, a lot of it's in, like, in a complex way, like that song. If that makes sense. I don't want to sound, like, too, like, pretentious or overhyped or anything like that, but, like, that's just how, like, what that made me think about. Is I've always been like, why is this, like, song always so beautiful to me? And then it being, like, overlaid of that scene, and it's like, oh, that's what this song means. Like, I'm sure I've, like, had that realization before, because I'm pretty sure, like, that's played over some of the Aspen scenes where, like, kind of the same vibey it was going for. But that was the first one where, like, really, like, struck in my brain, like, why I think that song is, like, just so beautiful.
After I found out Jungin was dead, I felt the same way. Like I didn't know what else to do with my life, or with myself. If you think about it, by searching for them for so long, I'd been doing the same thing you were all this time. But it was because of you and Aspen that I decided to stay in Wellington. The two of you showed me how to keep going, even when I didn't know where to go. And how just because they aren't around anymore, that doesn't change what they did for me. I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for them. So I'll always be grateful for that, even though they've been gone for so long.
I turned to look at Cosette's grave beside us. It would be fair to say she's changed my life too,
It's
indirectly.
the same thing with you and Cosette. She made your life great, and I'm sure you made hers great too. I didn't know her, but from everything you've told me about her, I'm sure she wouldn't want you to hurt or feel sad about her all the time. I'm sure she would have wanted you to smile when you think of her, and to find lots of other reasons to smile too.
Juliet also studies the moonlit grave. I wonder if she's picturing Cosette, the person. I wonder if she's picturing Cosette, the person, or if she's seeing the stone for what it is. After a long time,
Yes.
she nods.
Yes, I do believe you're right. I'll never stop loving her, or missing her. She lived a wonderful life, and died a peaceful death. She'll remain at peace forevermore. But I'm still alive, and it's time that I acted like it. Can make a new life for ourselves here, one step at a time, together.
Right. Together. You're not alone anymore. Neither of us are. I just have one question, though. You said here. Does that mean that you'll stay?
Ooh.
Maybe someday we'll go. But I want it to be because both of us want to. Not just... There's plenty of time for that in the future. Right now, I think I'd like to learn to enjoy Wellington again. To see it the way you do. Fresh and exciting.
Sorry for skipping the last part. She was basically saying, like, she doesn't want to go to the underworld just because she wants to. She wants to go because they both want to. Sorry about that. Listen, my fingers just... they just slip sometimes. They'd be slippery boys. That sounded a lot grosser than I meant for it to sound. Relief washes over me like a wave. I was prepared to go with her, if that's what she really wanted, but I'd much rather stay here for a while longer. After tonight, it feels like I can finally relax, without worry following me around. Juliet and I are still together, and we're not going anywhere. Whatever happens next, I'm sure we'll be able to handle it, because we have each other. Aww. I let go of Juliet so I can step forward and place the flowers that I brought to... I let go of Juliet so that I can step forward and place the flowers that I brought in for Jongin on the ground beside Cosette's grave. They're a little bit smushed, but I'm sure that's alright. I don't think they'd mind. Almost immediately, a light breeze picks up, scattering the bundle lightly to the winds. I think that's alright too. I'll never forget about Zhang Yin either. No matter how far I go and how many people I meet, they'll always be special to me. They set me on my own path, the one that I walked for decades. If I could somehow tell them about everything I've seen and done since then, and about the new adventures that I'm sure I have with Juliet, I think they'd be just as excited for me as I am. I'm sad I never got to thank them properly, but just like Cosette and Juliet, I think that living my life to its fullest is the best way I could do that. Juliet and I stay quiet for a little bit longer, both reflecting on everything. Finally, she puts her arm around me and gestures with her hand in the direction that we came from.
Shall we be getting back to the library? I imagine you could use some rest before tomorrow evening's activities.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready to go if you are.
Juliet turns to give one last look at the grave. The flowers she placed shake in the breeze, while mine are spread further and further. She
Yes.
smiles at me.
I think I'm ready.
I think this might be the same. I'm going to read like a page or two, and then we'll move on if it is. As the day winds down and starts to get darker, a light breeze starts to pick up. Not enough to be cold, but enough to make me glad I have my jacket. Aspen, Juliet, and I sit on the front porch with the lights on, watching the road.
How long until people start showing?
Soon, I'd imagine.
They'd better.
Okay, yeah, I think we've already... Yeah, we've already gone through all this stuff.
Oh,
We've already gone through this. Oh, go, 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 go! Like,
You can't do that.
the stuff I was talking about before of, like, stuff, like,
usually
it relating really hard is because, like, one of the reasons
This is
why I've been so excited and so scared of getting into Juliet's route, because I'm like, yeah, it's gonna hit real hard in, like, an existential kind of way. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm excited for it, because I'm like, I trust this story to do a great job of it, of, like, handling all that kind of stuff. But it also makes me scared because, like, you know, existential thoughts. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense.
It's
Finally hits
cold.
me. Oh, yep.
Oh,
Yep, we've already done all this. We've done all this, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. It was just a thought that I was having because I'm like, I feel like I might have come off as like less excited to get into Juliet's route, and that was the only reason
Yeah.
why. But even then, like, the writing's
Whew.
so good. It's so good. Like, I think by the end of the story, I'll be like, I probably enjoyed Aspen's route more. But I'd say that Juliet's route is probably just more interesting. You know what I mean? It's more interesting. It has, like, the story and, like, what she's going through. I don't want to say it's, like, deeper. Because, like, I don't know. How do you, like, quantify that? I guess you could if there was, like, a substantial difference. But I don't necessarily think there is. So it's, like, weird. But I still feel like I still think I'd say that I think Juliet's route is...
They were
Is this that song? Is this Rain Poem? Oh, I'm blanking. Oh, is this the song that was playing in that last... Oh, I'm just going to go on. I'm going to embarrass myself. Listen, I can't do, like, this kind of analysis on the fly like this. I mean, I probably could. But, like, it stresses me out. It'd be like, this isn't the same song that was playing earlier, though.
You and I thought, but
But yeah, I feel like that might sound weird to people. Like, you enjoyed one route more than the other, but you think one's better. But it also does just come down to personal preference. Like, I'm less happy. Like, I less enjoy, like, I don't know, like the existential stuff. I guess I slightly less enjoy it. Again, this story handles it so well that I do enjoy it. You know what I mean? But the best way to put it is I had a bit more fun in Aspen's route, and that's, like, important to me because it's, like, you know, media that's supposed to entertain along with, like, give you, like, these kinds of, like, insightful, like, thoughts and whatnot. And Aspen's route did also connect me on, like, a very deep personal level. You know what I mean? And it's chapter 5. What? Also, what a freaking cute thing. Oh my gosh, is this the best one? I'm sitting here like thinking like I don't know. I really like I feel like all both of Aspen's were like very warm kind of pinky colors, which were very good and fit her very well. And but this cool color scheme with the stars and then Juliet in front of it like that. That's gosh darn right down beautiful. You know what I mean, baby? That's crazy. I can't believe we're in chapter 5. I feel like chapter 5 isn't that long. Like chapter 5 is only like 2-ish hours, I believe. Hang on. Title. There's no way. There's no way we only have like 2-ish hours
Okay,
left.
let me
Yeah, no, we're
grab
still
my
at 86% complete, okay? We're still like nowhere close to finishing this up, okay? We're fine. I just got a little scared. I was like, is this like, are we like getting towards the end? Am I going to finish this like tomorrow when I record 2 more episodes? That'd be kind of nutso butso. Sorry, I had a cough. But yeah, like they both like deeply connect to me. I think that's one of the reasons why like that is like the reason, well, one of the reasons why I love this story so much is because of like how much I connect to both to everything that Miho, Aspen, and Juliet are like going through essentially. Like it connects me so personally. It's so well written. The characters are so lovable. And again, even with Juliet's route of being a lot more like kind of dreary and stuff, like it never like feels like it's trying to be like overbearingly sad, if that makes sense. Like it's still trying to like be fun and be enjoyable to read, if that makes sense. So with that being said, I guess we'll just hop into chapter 5. That's weird. It's weird, man. I mean, I know we have like both endings and stuff to get, but like whatever. Ooh, Small Wonders. Let's go. Let's go. I'm excited. Ooh, ooh. November passes without much trouble. As summer gets closer and it grows warmer outside, life at the library is the same as ever in a lot of ways. Mornings are for breakfast with Juliet, and the days are spent working or with my friends. Juliet occasionally stays up late so that she can help Juliet occasionally stays up late so that she can help out around the library more and get to know the patrons better. Aspen comes by when she can, sometimes only staying for a meal and sometimes spending the day with us. I haven't seen Silver since Halloween, so over a month by now, but I'm sure she's still out there somewhere. In the evenings that have changed, It's the evenings that have changed the most for Juliet and me. We spend more time together, and not just at home. True to her word, we go for walks more often, or out to dinner, and to other fun places too. Oh, we don't get to see them. No, I was like, listen. Again, I wasn't wanting anything like huge, like a whole like 50-minute section of it. I was just like, can we have like a 5-minute like talk of them just like going out to dinner or something? Could we please? That's all I wanted. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. I really wanted to see that. We still set. We still spend plenty of quality. What is wrong with me suddenly? We still spend plenty of quiet time with each other too, of course. The days are getting longer and longer, which means more sunlight for her to avoid. The whole month goes by like that, and so does the start of December. Before I know it, we're just a couple weeks away from the end of the year. I look out the window of I look out the window of the nearly empty shuttle as it takes Juliet and I out of Wellington. She sits beside me, reading quietly. You know, that is kind of something I miss of like I used to have like a relationship with someone where like we could just like sit there and just like enjoy each other's presence without like doing anything actually like together, which is something I've enjoyed about these guys, like kind of showing that because I feel like a lot of things don't show that. It's usually like if you people are together, they're doing stuff, and even nowadays, like even with most 99, well, I guess with all my relationships now, it's like yeah, no, we're only together if we're doing stuff. You know, we're not just enjoying each other's presence. Like, I don't know. There's definitely a relationship I had where I was like, yeah, like we would just like sit at a park bench and just read our books separately for like 40 minutes and just enjoy each other's company that way. I was like, it's such a nice, like subtle little thing if you can actually get that with somebody, you know? It's so nice. The view outside is new to me, and watching the busy city streets gradually turn into a nature-lined highway keeps me entertained. I'm glad for the sights because we'll be traveling for a couple hours. It's a long way to the edge of the world. Wait, what? Is the edge of the world a real thing? What? Around the time it becomes too dark for me to see very well is when Juliet tucks a bookmark in. Around the time it becomes too dark for me to see very well is when Juliet tucks a bookmark into her novel and closes it, peering
It's
out
not
Oh,
into the
too
night
much
beside
longer,
me.
I think. I don't remember for sure, though.
Sorry, I had a cough.
it's alright. I'm having a good time. I don't mind long rides when I'm not stowing away in a cabinet or something.
That was how you first came to Wellington, right?
Yup. Although, I think I had about as much legroom as the other passengers did that time. This bus is pretty comfy, though.
Indeed. I'm glad it runs through the night. Last time I made this journey, I flew.
As a bat?
Yes, it's been that long.
I'm not sure I could run that far, even as a fox.
Most people walked back then, which could take several days. I much prefer how it is now.
Me too. Even though it's my first time.
There are a handful of others on board the bus with us. There are a handful of others. Don't question what any of those sounds were. There are a handful of others on board the bus with us, most of them with bags or other belongings close by. We're probably the only ones who plan to be returning to Wellington tonight. We make a few other stops along the way and... No, wait, that's the end of that line? And someone gets off at each of them until it's just the two of us and the driver who remain.
Yes.
There we go.
We won't be descending, though.
Been a while since I've gone that far. You're heading back after, then?
We intend to. I'm saying goodbye to a friend. Will there still be shuttles operating in a couple hours?
I'll wait for you. Otherwise, you could be sitting around all night.
Is it going to be Ezekiel that she's saying
Thank
goodbye
you.
to?
I
Are we actually going to
appreciate
get
it.
see him? I hope we get, like, at least a single, like, portrait of him or just
We'll
something.
be there before too long.
The farther we go, the narrower the roads start to become again. The trees and foliage also thin out until they practically disappear. Finally, the shuttle pulls into a small, unpaved lot. Juliet leaves her book on her seat, and the two of us disembark. There, under the moonlight, I get my first look at the overworld's edge. The metal. This is so weird. This is so cool, though. What a fun concept. Again, this is why I'm like, if we have a sequel of any kind, like, to this, I'd rather it be more about, like, people, like, exploring the world or something, not necessarily about these characters. As much as I love these characters, I'll say it time and time again, I love these characters, but, like, I don't really want their story to be, like, forced to continue. Also, I'm adjusting something really quick. My legs were starting to hurt from using, like, the foot pedals too much. And my hands were starting to hurt too much from, like, the mouse. So I think I found a new method. I'm just gonna, like, rest my hands on the pedals and do it that way. A metal fence runs along the abyss, seeming to stretch forever in either direction. It's similar to the one at the top of Mount Victoria, but much taller. How hard do I have to press? What the freak? Where's my mouse at? Oh, why is my mouse over here? What the fuck? Get out of here, Stinky. There we go. 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 Why? I felt the press again. I don't know why it's like that. Let's just go over here. There we go. Out beyond the fence is the open air. Nothing else. Just pure, endless nothingness. More stars than I've ever seen in my life decorate the sky. It's windier here than it is in the city. Windy enough to be loud. A short footpath leads to a short footpath leads to anyways. A small footpath leads past a small empty building. Why do I keep saying that? A short footpath leads past a small empty building. Grass covers the area where we are, but fades into dirt and rock not too far away. The path ends at a small entryway that makes the only gap in the fence. It's nicer than the rest of the area. I can't imagine the lift itself has changed very much since Juliet first arrived here. A shadowy figure stands there, waiting for Juliet.
Take your time.
I gently nudge her forward.
Thank you, dear. I'll try not to be too long.
Heyo, take as long as you need, my guy. You're saying goodbye to a friend. For however long, who's to say? Like, is he going back there for the purposes of dying? I don't know. I don't know if they actually mentioned that. I watch as she strides ahead, meeting with Ezekiel in the shadow of the arch. I knew coming out here No. I knew coming out here that their conversation would be between them alone. I want both of them to be able to say whatever they want to each other without worrying about me eavesdropping. Besides, I'm more interested in exploring. While the two of them talk, I decide to take a look around. I head over to the barrier. It sits right at the edge of the void, close enough that I can peer over the side. There's not much to see though, only stone and darkness. The underworld is down there, far, far below, but it's invisible from here. I wonder what the view is like during the day. Probably the same, but with blue sky instead of black. Nowadays, most people travel between the overworld and underworld on much faster elevators or use magical means. There are even airships that go up and down between the two. This is the first lift that I've ever heard of that is this old and slow. I doubt there are many of them left anymore. Still, it's not a surprise that this is how Juliet's friend would want to return. It probably exists for people like him who are old enough to remember how things used to be. I've heard that on some of the otherworld's other edges, oceans spill over the sides like a waterfall, or towns are built on smaller shards of floating stone. It's a little boring here in comparison. I'd like to see the underworld at some point. I'm not sure that I'd want to live there, but maybe I'll change my mind when I go. I'm sure that Juliet and I will visit it together someday. Now that I'm not dreading the thought of leaving Wellington behind, I can appreciate the idea of moving castles and magic forests more than I could before. I walk for a while, following the rail so it's impossible to get lost. It turns out that things aren't any more exciting further along though, just more dirt and grass. Eventually I go back in the direction I came from, and it's not too long before I hear the distant sounds of the lift departing. When I get back to the starting point, I find Juliet standing alone as the lift slowly descends. I walk to her
There
side.
you are. I was wondering where you'd gone. Thank you for waiting for me.
Of course. I just walked for a bit, but there wasn't much to see. How'd it go?
We said what I expect will be our last goodbyes. He goes eagerly to a well-deserved rest.
How do you feel? Are you okay?
I am. I'm grateful for everything. In the end, our paths diverged, and we're both going our separate ways without any regrets.
I don't say it, but I'm sure Juliet is thinking the same thing I am. Ezekiel was her last tie to her former life. Her former lives, even. Now it's just her and I, and the infinite possibilities ahead of us. From here on out, the future is what we create. Linking hands, we look out at the stars together. They twinkle and shine just for us.
Not like this. Not so bright and bold and infinite.
I'd miss them if I couldn't see them anymore.
As would I. As would I.
As one, we return to the waiting shuttle and the long ride back to the library. By the time we arrive, both of us are exhausted. Lately, we've been on the same schedule more often, not just so she can spend more time at the library, but so we can be awake at the same time too. She has to take midday naps every now and then to make it work, but that doesn't seem to bother her too much. Before we can go inside, Juliet stops me with a gentle touch. Aww. She turns to me, and I gaze up sleepily, just as she leans in to kiss me. Even through the layers of fog setting on my brain, I'm able to separate the softness of her hands and the warmth of her lips. I put my hand on her shoulder. I put my own hand on her shoulder to steady myself, and just to feel closer to her. When she pulls away,
Thank
we still
you,
remain close
Mia,
together.
for going with me today. And for giving me a reason to come back.
Thanks for making me want to stay. I'd like to go there with you. Someday. But... right now...
My now turns into a big yawn. Juliet smiles.
I agree. Right now, let's just get some sleep.
When I wake up for breakfast, I
Morning.
find Juliet frowning in the kitchen.
What's wrong?
She has the fridge door open
Good
and is
morning.
looking into it intently.
It isn't a bit deal, but I could have sworn there was still half a block of cheese left that I was going to serve with breakfast today. But now I can't find it. Did you have it for a snack?
Nope. Maybe we ate the rest of it yesterday. There was cheese on our sandwiches for dinner.
That must be it. I just forgot.
It's okay. I'm fine with toast and eggs like always.
Coming right up.
While Juliet prepares the food, I make us some tea. Juliet still does most of the cooking, but tea has become my responsibility a lot of the time. I like it because it gives me a way to help contribute to our meal. I've been cooking for myself sometimes, although Juliet's food is still way tastier. Naturally, breakfast is good, even without any cheese. Once we're done eating and just sitting together, Juliet reaches over and takes my hand.
There's something I wanted to ask you.
Sure. What's up?
Earlier this morning, I saw that I'd received a reply to a message that I never expected to be answered.
Oh, is it just going to be her thingamajig?
A couple months ago,
For meeting with Zhang-Yin's relative? Yeah.
I
Yep. Okay, let's go. Go. Sorry, I was like looking at a text. I got like, it was a slightly important text, but it's like one that can wait a few more minutes, sort of. It's that sort of thing. I just want to check what it said, and then we're just going to keep on schmoving with it. Later that night, I find myself lying awake, looking at the ceiling. Juliet's out running some late-night errands, so I'm home by myself. Tomorrow I'm going to talk to someone related to Zhang-Yin. It's kind of hard to believe. Juliet told me around dinner time that she'd heard back from the person that she'd emailed and set up a time for us to chat. I don't know how much she'll be able to tell me since they're only distant relatives. Still, anything will be nice to know. I hadn't been expecting to learn much more about them at all. As I'm lying there, thinking about what I'll ask tomorrow, I hear a muffled thump from the kitchen downstairs. I sit up a little early for Juliet to be back. Maybe she forgot something. That doesn't seem likely, though. I move silently as I get up and leave my room. I'm out of practice when it comes to being stealthy, but some things just come naturally. It's dark downstairs, just like we left it when we closed up for the night and I went to bed. I tiptoe over to the kitchen, peeking into the darkness. Juliet's not there, nor is anything else out of the ordinary. I look for what could have made the noise, and finally notice Juliet's parasol lying on the floor. It must have fallen over and hit the counter or something as it did so. But what made it fall over? Suddenly the door to the fridge swings open all on its own. Light shines out, revealing nothing. Is it like a ghost? I thought I knew where this was going. I'm like, because again, I've been slightly spoiled. This is like the one thing I've been spoiled on. But I'm like, I think I know where this is going, but is it like a ghost? I pinch myself to make sure I'm not dreaming. Right before my eyes, an apple and half a sandwich that I made earlier float up off the shelf and into the open air, and the door shuts behind them, bringing back the darkness. The apple and sandwich flow out of the kitchen and towards the front of the library, turning the corner and disappearing into the book room. I swallow. Some kind of magic is clearly at work here, but I don't know what kind. I consider going upstairs to get my phone and call Juliet, but my curiosity gets the better of me. Quickly but quietly, I follow in the same direction, poking my head around just in time to see the food float behind one of the far shelves. I take deep breaths as I move towards it, feeling my old flight or fight instincts kicking in for the first time in months. Pressing my back against the shelf, I slowly peer around the corner. Yeah, I was right, sort of. Sitting on the ground with her back against the wall is a young girl. Her pointy ears mark her as some kind of fabled, rather than a human. She has the apple in one hand and sandwich in the other, and a raggedy blanket beneath her. She takes a noisy bite of the apple, smacking her lips as she chews, followed by a noisy bite of sandwich. Whatever I was expecting, it wasn't a kid. I jerk backwards in surprise, so startled that my shoulder bumps against the bookshelf, causing a couple books to fall on their sides with a heavy smack. I whip my head back around to see the girl drop the apple in fright, her eyes going huge. I step out in front of her and ask her her name or what she's doing. About to ask her name or what she's doing. The girl screams, takes me by surprise too, and in an instant she disappears from sight. 1 second she's there, and the next she's not. I hear the footsteps and feel the air move as she rushes past me, and I realize what's happened. She can turn invisible. I reach out in the direction I think she is, but grab only empty air. I don't even know what I've done if I somehow caught her. Running towards the front door, I arrive just in time to see the front door open and close immediately as she hurries outside. I follow, throwing the door wide as I go. As I step out onto the front porch, though, I know she's already gone. Studying the darkness, I look for any sign of her, but don't see or hear anything. For all I know, she could be right next to me. I consider calling out to her again, but I'm sure she wouldn't believe anything I'd have to say. What would I say? Judging by the blanket, she was probably planning to sleep in the library. The spot she chose wasn't too far from the one I picked when I was going to do the same thing. The missing cheese from this morning makes sense now too. How long has she been doing this? It's possible that the other food has gone missing too. And we just didn't notice. I don't know how old she is, but it was clear that she's just a child. Did she run away from home or something? Or does she not have one? It's a comfortable night out without any threat of rain, which is a relief. But I know that even the best night outside doesn't really compare to having a roof over your head. I stay out front for a little while longer, but of course she doesn't come back, or at least she doesn't show herself. Eventually, I return to the spot where she was hiding. The apple lays on its side, already turning brown in the one spot where the bite was taken. Cheese, tomato, and mayonnaise stick to the floor where the sandwich fell apart, with the slices of bread nearby. I clean everything up, tossing the dirty food into the trash. Then I make another sandwich and grab another apple, wrapping those in a paper towel, just like when I took some food to Silver. I also grab the ratty blanket. It has holes running through lots of it, and doesn't feel very warm to begin with. I fold it up and go back outside, setting it down on the edge of the porch along with the food. Then I return to my room. From my bedroom window, I have a clear view of the path to the library. I watch for a while, waiting to see if the girl returns, but she doesn't. Maybe I scared her away for good. If I'd been in her position, I probably wouldn't come back anytime soon. Eventually, my eyes get heavy and I lie down, settling into bed. Wherever the girl is out there, I hope she's able to get some decent sleep. Alright, and I think that'll be the end of the episode for now. Oh, I'm so excited to learn more about this though. I'm so excited because that's what I got spoiled on was her existence. So I'm really excited to see where it goes. Oh, I love this. I'm so sad that it's ending. Hang on, how close are we to the ending though? Let's go ahead and hit this with a little save. That's such a beautiful chapter screen. I think that one's so good. It might be my favorite. And then title. Yes.
Already?
And then
Okay,
load.
let me grab my
88. Oh no. Ah, so close. We're so close. But yeah, no, with all that being said, I will see all of you beautiful people in the next one. We only have 4 or 5, maybe 6 left. I'm scared. So from the time of recording this, it's probably only a week, maybe a week and a day's worth of episodes left, and then it's over. But yeah, no, with all that being said, I'll see all you beautiful people in the next one. Bye-bye.